The Crypt interviews in association with Mayo Leisure Point Castle Bar.
You're listening to The Crypt, and today on the show I am joined by Angel Croitor, who is the writer and director at Crypt Tapes, a new Dublin-based independent horror web series focusing on standalone episodes much like other anthologies such as Tales from the Crypt or The Twilight Zone. So you're very welcome to the show, Angel.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, firstly, can you tell me about the inception of Crypt Tapes?
Well, initially I had been approached by my composer saying that he was kind of tired of waiting around to make something. Like, it would take about 6 months for at least one short film to be made in the community that we were in. And eventually, 3 or 4 years later, I was just sitting around after being first AD for a feature film for a while, and I thought to myself, I am so sick of just waiting for short films and feature films to take this long, because it takes up so much of your time and you could be spending it doing something else, and we usually do have to take on other projects. So I approached my new friend at the time, who was Sam Flynn, and I told him I want to make a web series that focuses primarily on horror, and I want to do it just like the Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt. And because I've been a big fan of Goosebumps when I was a kid, and I had this just absolute fascination with horror since I was a kid, it's kind of bringing that element back into it. Is that whole standalone episode setup is what really attracted me to horror in the first place, and was my first introduction to horror.
And then who were the crew behind the project?
The crew are Aoife McHale, who is our sound designer, and she's pretty great with the atmosphere. She really understands what it needs. She understands how Foley works in post, and in particular, she has this real love of gore, which is the side of horror that she's really fascinated by. So she's really happy if we have anything to kind of smash or tear apart. But she's got more experience on feature films and indie films in particular, just with sound design rather than recording on set. But she does both. Carol is our makeup artist, and she's just absolutely fascinated with the project. She's the one that's really pushing all of the episodes to be as gruesome and as hardcore as they can be, because she's just coming up with all of these special effects that we can do, and she's wondering, how do we apply the makeup, and how dead do you want dead? And it's just fascinating to have someone who's that into your own episodes. So sometimes it takes you back a bit, but it's really great support. Sam Flynn himself is my director of photography and my co-producer. When he's not on set, he's in charge of making sure that our social medias are constantly active.
Yeah, that's
so people have somewhere to go, and they have something else to kind of to interact with, because you can watch the episodes, but I'm pretty sure, as we all do with, like, say, for instance, like Rob Zombie at the moment, he's selling props from the 2007 Halloween, the film that he remade. And at the moment, that's him, interacting with his audience and making sure that he's active online, and he still remains important. And I think everybody should take kind of heed with that. That's really what we should do nowadays. If you're in a web series or you're out there and you really want to gain traction, is remember, you still have to be who you're promoting outside of the episodes themselves. And then we have Michael Rowe, who is our grip. He's fantastic. He understands camera movement, and since me and Sam and Mick hang out quite a lot when it comes to previs and pre-production, when we arrive on set, there's no need to tell Mick what we want to do. And because of his experience in SFX Ireland and being on Vikings and being on Ripper Street, he knows pretty much what the industry can present for camera movement and wise. So we depend on him for all of the really awesome shots that we see, because he has the gear and he knows how to set it up. And I don't think I've actually set up a single bit of gear for this entire web series, which is really weird for me. I'm usually the one helping out, but because of Mick and everybody else on crew, it's been fabulous.
Well, it sounds like you have a fantastic team there.
Yeah, no, they're really great. They're super excited about the episodes as well, which is something I really need as a writer, because writing and directing, you have this bias with the episodes.
Yeah.
You tend to see them in a different way, and you can't trust your own opinion about these episodes, because they're your own work. So you're going to have issues with something that you didn't think was quite fulfilled, or you thought you kind of fell on this part, but they wouldn't have noticed. So that's what's great to have their opinions on.
And can you talk a bit about the design of the episodes?
The episodes, initially we just wrote the first script, which is actually the second episode that came out, called Home. When we wrote that, I wanted to have a 7 to 10 minute long episode, but when I told this to Sam Flynn, he said that past 7 or 8 minutes, it is going to be extremely hard to keep somebody's attention if it's online, because they could easily click away to something that has proven that they've liked before, you know, like a vlog or something. And with that, we've learned so much, because we want these short setups. We want to throw the audience right into the mix. We don't want to kind of have to set up and then you have to enjoy the character and live with the character and then there's a resolve. It's really hard on the internet because you have like 3 to 5 minutes of what is acceptable airtime before people want to click away or move on to another video. So with that, it's finding the scene in your story, which could be larger or smaller, and picking that exact moment to tell your audience the entire encapsulating story, at the same time making sure that the scene that you're constructing isn't expositional. It's not telling you the story that you're not seeing off screen, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, how many episodes are in the first season, and what's your vision for how long these seasons will go on for?
At the moment, we are planning on having these seasons go on indefinitely because they're independent. They're not associated with any big house or funding corporation. So as long as they're independent, we have to say about when we'll release. And since we all love it, not as a job, but more as a passion, it's something that we want to continue indefinitely. So when it'll end, we really don't know. It'll probably be when we get too tied up with something else. But then we've got plans to have a second unit come in and do the rest of the episodes for when we can't do them if we're filming one episode and we have time constraints. But so far what we're doing is every season is 8 episodes, and our last episode is coming out next Thursday. We've just released one today, and so it's been great. People have been loving it, but we only have 8 episodes in every season.
Well, watching the episodes, they're so professionally shot, and I believe this is a no budget series.
Yes, absolutely. The one thing that I will not permit on a set, and sounds quite it sounds quite brave to say something like that, but I can't permit a shot if it doesn't look amazing. And what happens is, after writing the script, I would storyboard what I see in my head and how, because everybody visualizes when they read. So I just draw down what I visualize, and then I go to Sam and I tell him, this is what I want. If something seems off to you, then by all means, tell me, and we will change the shot. And about 9 times out of 10 when we arrive on set, the shot is definitely going to change, because I draw it a certain way and you imagine something, but then you arrive on set and you're thinking, you know what, those mountains are they're a hell of a lot further than I thought. So we're gonna have to go to somewhere else. We're gonna have to pick like some other shot, and we're just gonna have to do it in a different way. But the elements are still like, I still want the actor from this angle. I don't want it from the opposite angle. This shot will mean this if we couple it with this. So the way we shoot is quite professional, because that's I believe that's because I myself am a director of photography, and Sam is the director of photography, and Mick has experience with the camera. And there are so many people on set that have worked a DSLR or worked a cinematic camera that it's inescapable. If you in any way set up a bad shot, you're gonna hear about it. Yeah. People will say it's like that's not as interesting as what we did before.
And especially when you're on social media, you always have people ready to say something.
Oh, the biggest fear ever. We're just waiting. I think out of all the episodes that we've uploaded, we've got 1 thumbs down on a video, and we can't tell if that's a joke or someone genuinely doesn't like it, because we got it the instant we uploaded it. So we don't know what it is. But yeah, it's a fear. It's a fear that if you put out bad content, you will know about it. But I guess I think the internet works in a different way. If you put out content that doesn't get anywhere, the worst that will happen is no one will notice it.
I have to say, I was very impressed with the acting in them as well.
Oh, really? A lot of them we know personally from other projects, so it was much easier to communicate. For instance, I think on Urban Man, Peter Melrose, who is just a fantastic actor, he was on a feature film that I was first ADing on, and I seen the way he was acting, and I seen how timid he could be off screen, And I told myself it would be absolutely fantastic if Urban Man wasn't this gruff of a man who, like, you know, chopped down trees with the side of his hand, but he was just this timid, really quiet person. And so I wrote Urban Man with Peter in mind, because I had this idea for Urban Man for a long time. I just didn't know how I wanted to visualize it. But the minute I saw Peter and I came up with the idea of a horror series, I was like, I can definitely put Urban Man in, and I can have him be this fantastic, timid character, but that goes crazy.
Well, you certainly bring the gore, tension and shock factor. Can you talk about some of the themes that appear throughout the series?
A theme that appeared early on in the series was to cause tension constantly, but using it in different ways. And as a director, it's incredibly hard to have 8 different scenarios, and you have in mind all different 8 scenarios, and you tell yourself, no, I can't go down this route, we can't cause tension simply through silence, because you do that much later in an episode. And I'm like, oh yeah, crap, no, I can't. So you're just sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, all right, well, in Urban Man we have the tension of knowing what's coming. So it's that typical setup of the Hitchcock bomb effect, where you can see the bomb and it's just about to go off and you don't know where it is up until you're shown a parallel edit where somebody is walking into a cafe, and you just put the 2 and 2 together. That's what we want for Urban Man there. But yeah, in an overarching theme, we're trying to get real horror across, because that was one of Sam Flynn's requirements at the start. I kept showing him monster films, and I kept showing him creature features and all of these really, really kind of supernaturally driven horrors, and he told me, oh yeah, but you know, horrors can be something else as well. And I immediately picked up on the fact that he basically said we can't have creature features every episode. And since we're no budget, that has proven to be much of a help, because we have no budget for creature feature makeup or anything like that. So we're keeping to what we can realistically pull off. But in season 2, we're going much bigger, and we're going to actually develop the episodes further out so that we can have these creature features and we can have these monsters. So overarching theme, I'm not so sure. I think we were generally really aiming to cause tension, to really master the idea of, can we even make horror to begin with?
Well, you certainly have the tension, because it grabs you straight away.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
See, I can't understand the episodes from an audience's point of view, which really hurts me.
Well, what are your plans for the future of Krypt Tapes?
For the future of Krypt Tapes, we are starting pre-viz for season 2 within about a week and a half. So because we're bringing on other writers and other directors for season 2 to kind of change up the style of horror a little, we're going to have to sit down with them and do more previs than is required if I was to direct something, because we need to understand their vision, they need to understand our protocols and what we're trying to get across. So that's immediately what's on the plan, but we also have season 3 and season 4 kind of already sourced. We know what we're doing and when we want to start releasing the episodes and such. So the seasons are definitely coming in, but we also have the Krypt Tapes full short films and feature films in the works as well. So a certain few creatures will be returning from the episodes, and they'll be getting a longer treatment.
And where can people follow the project online?
They can follow us on Facebook if they type in Krypt Tapes. I think we are literally the only one with that name spelled with a K. You can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Instagram, and we're super active. Like, we're uploading behind the scenes every day. We've got plans to bring in behind the scenes video for the future, and you can also check up with our news on our Facebook page.
Well, that's excellent. Well, I think it's great to see homegrown independent horror, and I wish you guys the best of luck with the project, and thanks so much for coming on the show today.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me on.
The Crypt interviews in association with Mayo Leisure Point Castle Bar.